Hey guys, I've either had a lot of requests to review this album, or it's just been the same request 100 times by the same person. I haven't really figured it out yet. So if I don't do it now, it's just gonna keep happening. I did have every intention of just reviewing every Blink album as it came out, so I figure I might as well do it anyway. I gotta be honest, it's an album that I don't even keep on my iPod anymore. Just because the songs for me are a little dated. I always preferred their more polished albums. I mean, Dude Ranch isn't very polished, I guess, but it's still better. You know, the songs are better. I think it's just a better album overall. The guitar work is really fun on it. You know, it's definitely not a boring album by any means. I mean, they're definitely young though. You know, Tom and Mark. I don't even know how young they were when this came out. If it was 92 or three, whenever it came out, I don't remember. Or 94. I think it was 94. You know, they were around their early 20s, if not even younger. So their youngness definitely shows. You know, their voices are a little whinier, a little raspier, but you know, a lot of people do like that. It's not my personal preference, though. I definitely prefer them after they've aged a little bit. You know, a little more maturity. So the songs overall, I mean, I think they're pretty solid for a set list. I mean, there's a couple on there I could kind of take or leave. Like Strings is probably my least favorite Blink song of all time. I really don't like it. But that being said, there's a couple others I don't really like either, like Fighting the Gravity and some others off of like Buddha, and I don't even really care about Fly Swatter. So I don't know. I could take it or leave it. There's a couple songs that I do really like. Touchdown Boy is awesome. Does My Breath Smell was always one of my favorites. Wasting Time obviously is a classic. That one's really cool. And you know, Eminem's Carousel. Those are classics. You know, can't really say that they're not. You know, I'm surprised that Eminem's isn't really played live as much. Granted, they're not playing really at all now, but I'm surprised that it wasn't as much of a live song as it could have been. You know, it was one of those big songs when they first started out, and fans to this day still love that song, just because it's definitely a unique one for them, and they definitely don't play it that much. I know they did play it. I think it was on their reunion tour, because I did see them for that tour, and I'm pretty sure they played it during that tour, but I don't think they continued after that. I don't remember. I definitely don't follow Blink as much as I used to, but that was a good song. This one had the longer version of Carousel, which at first I didn't really like. You know, I didn't really care for that extended intro, but it grew on me. You know, it's a cool little thing. You know, no reason why it shouldn't be on there. So lyrics are, you know, pretty standard for young pop, or not pop, but young punks, I guess. The joke songs are pretty funny. Benoit Balls, Just About Done, Depends. I remember the first time I heard those, I was like, what the hell are these guys on, you know? But, you know, there's a couple songs on here that never really struck a chord with me very much, like Romeo and Rebecca, Cacophony, Sometimes isn't bad, but you know, it's so short. You know, it's kind of forgettable almost. It's definitely one of their faster songs, if not their fastest song. You know, I don't know. Van Toozler, I don't really remember that song that much, just because I don't listen to it that often. So, but overall, you know, it's not a bad album by any means. I would probably say it's my least favorite, though. You know, I'm not going to really include Fly Swatter, and I might even say that I like it less than Buddha. I'm not sure. You know, there's a couple things on Buddha that I like more than Cheshire Cat. But there's a couple things on Cheshire Cat I like more than Buddha, so it's kind of a toss-up, you know. And some people might not even really consider Buddha an album technically, but you know, I still do. I don't like Scott's drumming. I mean, most of you probably know that already. I think his drumming's pretty forgettable, and I think it held him back. You know, it wasn't very creative because the drums really can bring life to a song, and if you're doing the same couple beats in every song, then it really makes every song start to sound the same. And just look at what Travis did with any Blink song. You know, he really made him stand out and brought a lot of creativity to those songs, and he took songs that otherwise could have been pretty ordinary pop punk songs and made them better, bigger. And I don't think Scott ever really had that in him. And you know, for the people that say that Scott should have stayed in the band, you know, whatever. You can stay in the past, I guess. But I don't know. I never really cared for what Scott brought to the band. I never really thought it was anything special personally. I mean, it works for, you know, the punk thing, you know, but I was never a punk fan, you know. Those older bands like, you know, Sex Pistols, Ramones, Clash, those sort of things, and other bands that followed after that, you know, I appreciate them for what they are, but it was never really something that I was super passionate about. And the early Blink stuff is definitely in that sort of realm, and I really don't appreciate it that much anyway. You know, it's just one of those things. It's not that I knock it, you know. I just don't like it as much as the newer stuff, you know. It's just personal preference, really. So I mean, if you prefer the older stuff, great. You know, if you like it more than the newer stuff, I can absolutely see why. There's huge differences between the different periods in Blink's career, which is kind of odd because it really divides fans, you know, because they had their first couple albums were very similar, and then Dude Ranch was, you know, a bit of a transition period, and then it goes to Enema of the State and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket that were definitely super poppy, and then it goes to the self-titled album, which was definitely a transition period, a lot darker, and then it changes again to a more alternative, a little bit more mainstream sound with, you know, dogs eating dogs in neighborhoods. So it's kind of all over the place, you know. So I don't know. It's a hard band to follow sometimes. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the new album. So we'll talk about that when it eventually comes out. So thanks for watching. If you have any other requests for videos or anything like that, feel free to just leave a message below, and maybe I'll get to it. Maybe I won't. Try not to send me 100 messages about the same thing over and over and over again. You know, it gets a little annoying. I guess in this case, the person that really, really wanted me to review this album got their wish. So, you know, I guess sometimes it'll work, but, you know, I don't recommend it. So, talk to you guys later, and thanks for watching. Bye.